Welcome to Many Millions, where we focus on the many reps and the million moments it takes to build a trading career.
We're looking at September 17th. This is a live trading session that I'll upload to YouTube. What we're looking for today, the market's really it's got a lot of momentum, as you can see. We're waiting for the Fed decision on interest rates that happens today at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Million moments it takes
I'm actually in the Mountain Time, so if you hear me call out Eastern, that's why. What I have here, I actually built a list for what to look for in an A setup. Now I have my own indicator, as you guys know, but I want to call out just what I'm looking for typically. And funny enough, it looks to me like we're going to be looking more for shorts here. So I built this around shorts, and now we're at the bottom of the range, and I would probably look for long. We'll see how it goes. But obviously, if you're looking for long, everything just reverses in here, right? We're looking for an exhaustive move to the upside. Well, if we're looking for a long, then we're going to be looking for the exhaustive move to the downside, followed by a rejection of that move. 9-3 stochastic must create a higher high, or in this case, a lower low, and then start to roll over. I'm just going to call this rollover instead of turn down, because rollover can happen in either direction, right? If you're at the top, you're looking for a short like this, it is going to roll down, but it's a rollover. Candle must close below the 9 EMA. That's my final entry trigger. Excuse me. Now, trend conditions, it's largely a ranging thing that we want, but we've got really good range right now. There's a lot of momentum to both directions, and it's moving really fast. So this is an excellent market. We just need to, I don't trade the news, so I'm not waiting for that 2 o'clock time frame. That's not of any interest to me, but I do love the price action I see going on. On news days, I just avoid the news session, the actual news time, if you will. So initial setup, those stochastics, right? The 9-3, the 10-3, the 30-10, and the 60-10 all need to be above or below the 80 or 20 line, depending on which direction you're going. You've got a stochastic pullback on the 9-3. Your volume is in an off-ramp if you're looking for a short, right? It's going to be an off-ramp coming down. If you're in a long, you're looking for an on-ramp. It's been down, coming back up. Going to look very similar to what we're seeing here right now. I was going to say, I'll probably show you this live. We've got a 1, 2, 3 up. This is an on-ramp. Now it is starting to consolidate inside of this channel, which is what I love to see. We've got this channel coming down here. I'm not going to draw it. This is setting up for a really good quad rotation to the long side. We've got our range already set, and look at this. I've got 15 tick stop loss and a 40 take profit. Puts me almost exactly where I want to be. I can even come down a little bit because my buy is going to be down here. I'll be right there, and then I'm going to have this guy at the top of that range right there. So looking for about a $400 trade there. It might be in that range. Again, I don't like to focus too much on that. Sorry, I don't know why TradingView is deciding to take over. I hate it when it does this, and I've got to turn off my take profit and stop loss for now, simply because I want these to be static. And as the price moves, when it does this, then I just have to wait. We're nearing the close of that EMA there, so you can see my indicator's got a B signal set up. What I'm missing for an A signal is the divergence right here. So no divergence is a B setup to me. I want a divergence within the last 10 bars for an A setup. Now, I have been trading A setups for the last several weeks exclusively. I may wait for that A setup, or I may try to give you guys what managing a B setup looks like, because it's a little bit different, right? You're going to be a lot more aware of what's going on in a B setup. You're going to manage that trade, almost micromanage that trade is what I would say. So I've got my trade of 8 account here. I'm going to go ahead and lower that down so that you can focus more on the chart here, how I have these stochastics set up, my volume profile. I'm going to move this more to the middle of the range, and we'll watch for it. You can also see, I haven't called this out before, but I actually really like the visual up here that my indicator gives. So it tells me when I'm in oversold conditions and on which stochastics that is. So right now we're in oversold on the 60, on the 40, and on the 14 stochastics. We're all in oversold. This 9.3 is not quite there. So we're kind of waiting. I would like to see a double crossover onto that 20 line. Doesn't always happen because it does look like it almost came above the 20 line and then dipped back down. I'll watch it here. Let me know if you guys have any questions as well as we continue, as I continue to push out this content. And again, I'm not really trying to sell anything. I'm just trying to get this information out there. I feel like I struggled as a trader just because I couldn't quite find a strategy that pieced together the market and clicked in my brain the way this quad rotation does. So that's really all I'm trying to do is give this information out because I think it's very valuable information. It's hard enough to make it in trading as it is. I'm not here to make it any harder. So we've got this channel here. I am going to go ahead and draw this channel for you. Let's have a look here. And I don't get very particular about the channel. I don't think that's really the point. I know you could start it at the top of the wicking candle, whatever you want to do. Typically, the reason you don't need to worry about it that much is because it doesn't really matter. As soon as you have consolidation here at the bottom of whatever that channel looks like, and it could be a very big ranging channel, but when you have consolidation at the bottom, you know you're looking for a reversal, right? It's no longer in that channel. So either A, we need to wait long enough that it pushes and rejects that 9 EMA and keeps going lower to continue this channel. Could be a 1, 2, 3 pullback, something like that, right? In our case, we're already outside of that channel. I don't love the volume not flipping very quickly. It is ever so slightly increasing towards the upside, but not in a super momentous way. As for my indicator, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on here, this B setup indication here, or signal, sorry. You can see we broke that 9 EMA. It followed the 9 EMA all the way down. Now this is a 1.5 ATR that my indicator automatically throws in as an exit signal. But you could have come all the way down to this bottom of the range here. So we have a B signal wanting to form, but it's not quite formed yet. Excuse me. We need to wait for this bar to close above the 9 EMA before I would consider taking that. Here's what I don't love about this B setup and why I'm going to stay out. This is what I like to talk through so you guys are aware of when I enter, when I exit, how I manage the trade, my thought process end to end. You can see here in the 9.3 and the 14 stochastic, I'm already above that 20 line. Like well above it, right? We're into the 40s here. I want that rollover to really be coming across in all three of these stochastics at the same time. I want them all to be entering just above that 20 line. So when this 9.3 is clear up into the 56 before my 40 stochastic has even started above the 20. That's not of any interest to me. I usually wait because this will continue to downturn, consolidate more. It'll get into oversold conditions, and then I'm going to look for that full rotation. Funny enough, remember, we're looking for that exhaustive move, in this case to the downside, followed by a rejection of that move. So this is very much an exhaustive move to the downside. Let's wait and see what happens here. Again, I'm on the 1 minute time frame. This is the ES. I've traded the NQ, a little bit more volatile. I love my tight stop loss on ES, so I tend to stick with that. As you can see on my lots here, I've got 9. That's about a $160 risk that I'm taking on that one. If I hit the full 40, which is actually a 2.5R, I believe, that's the 400 and change. So we're just going to wait it out. Wait for these levels to hit where I need them to. Let me zoom out for you as well. I have not done that. So we were at all-time highs yesterday. We were up at the 66.40 was pretty much where it hit. That's, again, all-time highs. We're getting into no man's land, as I called out in my last video. So I think we'll end up seeing a little bit of a downturn is what it looks like to me. It could be a little bit of a pullback here and just want to push up higher. Not sure what the news of Fed's cutting rate, that's almost a certainty at this point, I believe. Whether that's going to push it lower or higher. Let me zoom back in on our 1 minute time frame now. Gives you an idea of where we're at. We've come off of those all-time highs. And it seemingly wants to long-term, I guess I'd say, and I'm using that word very lightly, seems like it wants to stay on the short side. What's nice about my 1 minute time frame, my scalping strategy, is I don't need to go in with this huge bias to say I'm only looking for shorts. No, in a ranging market where I'm looking at, it could go either way. Right now I'm at the bottom of this range. The opening range was set. Where are we at? 945. That was the opening range. It went up, and it's now scaled way past the lowest low of the opening range, that 15-minute opening range. So I'm looking to carry all the way back up to here. I think it's probably going to stay in a little bit more of a ranging market until the 2 o'clock announcement. That's what I'm waiting for. Of course, whenever I start these streams, I always wait for this A setup, and then I get impatient. Don't want to leave you guys hanging without a trade. So we'll see what this does here. I'd like to get that divergence. And really, all of these kind of indicators or conditions are just creating confluence to make my high probability setup a higher probability. That's all I'm waiting for. So again, we've broken that channel, right? It obviously is consolidating. Yes, it's setting a lower low. That's totally fine. That's actually encouraged, I would say. Exhaustive move down here, but we're not getting that close above the 9 EMA. There's my divergence. Excellent. You can see I got a signal here. This initial alert is actually just letting me know that it has broken the channel and had a divergence. So I am looking for an entry real quick now. Did not close above that 9 EMA. That's what would be my last entry signal. So you can see I've got an A plus setup signal now. But I need to wait 20 more seconds for this candle to close. I want to make sure I know what it's going to do. We're not quite where I'd like to be here on the 9-3 stochastic. That makes me think we may need to wait a couple more bars. It's going to push below. It's going to consolidate for a few more minutes, and then we'll get our bounce. So I'd like to see this roll down back below the 20 line and then curl back up. Volume's kind of drying up for whatever that's worth. Now that could be a bad indicator, right? It could mean if volume is drying up that we're going to see less volume now. We've had a fair amount of movement in the market so far, but we may see less volume, less price action in general until the 2 o'clock announcement from the Fed. Still liking my odds on this one, though. I like the divergence. It looks like it's setting up for a perfect day setup. You typically get about 2 to 3 of these a day in ES. Okay, specifically, that's kind of my specialty. That's my niche that I would say that I or niche, however you want to say that word, that I'm trading in. This strategy very much works on any instrument, though. Pick your instrument. I'm a futures trader. Again, ES is my specialty. I have traded NQ. Just easier to handle the price action, the pull against you, and again, I like the tighter stop loss that I'm able to keep here in ES. Gonna zoom in a little bit. I want to get a better idea of what this volume is doing. I'd like it to be a little more voluminous. Yes, I know that's not a word. Voluminous is a word. But you know what I mean. We're looking for more volume. I just don't think it's going to be a requirement for me on this A setup. As long as I get my on-ramp, I'm okay to enter. So again, 15 ticks is all I'm doing here. I'm risking $160 to make 400 plus. We'll see if it takes it to the top of the range where I'm less volume. The difference may be that I consider this to be a little bit more of a B plus setup because I don't have my volume. That may mean that I just cut it earlier. I take the first 2, 3, 4 candles up because they should be explosive moves off of this bottom of the range. And I can do that and just take my $200, right? I don't have to let it carry all the way to 4. It's teasing that A setup still. It's teasing. Got a good curl over that V right at the bottom on the 9-3. I've got a 1, 2, 3 ramp up. So there's my on ramp. I'm going to wait for this candle to close. We have to follow these rules. What I like about this strategy, again, is it's more systematic. You can have some discretion in here. Your discretion, though, should come in terms of, okay, I have the system. Systematically, I now know this is a B setup. That is at your discretion. You can take the B setup. You know that you've lost some probability, and I'm actually getting really good at tracking these stats in TradeZilla, so I'll let you know if I can determine exactly what that probability is. I know we have our A setup here. We technically did get a close above the 9 EMA. I'm waiting for just a little bit more. I feel like it's just going to consolidate here. Just sit in the tiniest little range. What are we in the last several minutes? We're bouncing back and forth between the 66.03 and the 66.05. I'd like to get just a little bit more momentum on my side. Again, B setup is what I would consider this to be. Volume is drying up. I could take that risk. It may still work out as a trade. I've got my divergence. I've got everything else I need. I'm going to go ahead and enter. Or not. Well, not sure why that didn't. Sorry for the perfectly timed neighbor's lawnmower. My order did reject here, but funny enough, I wasn't looking for a sell anyway. I don't think I had sell selected, so I'm gonna see what this does here. You can see I'm at the top of the 9.3 stochastics. I really don't like an entry here. I'm gonna wait. So I'm kind of glad it rejected, just because I was forcing that trade a little bit for the YouTube view. Let's find an A setup, right? We can be patient. Also looking to improve my YouTube content in here. Just want to call that out. I realize that I need to make up some ground. There's a lot of really professional, well done videos. There's some high class traders on YouTube. Now, a lot of them are probably fake, and that's why they're so good at their video demonstration. They've got it all just dialed in, right? It's a full production. I'm not that. This is not a production. I simply have an OBS studio recorder going, and I'm recording my screen. So I'm giving it to you raw. Hopefully you appreciate that. Yeah, see how we're just in this tiny range? Volume has all but dried up, and we're not getting the movement in the price action we want. While we are at the bottom of the range, price action isn't happening. To me, that's a no trade zone. So we may have to look for other opportunities later in the day. I'm going to give this another couple of candles to see if I get, again, my indicator here has this divergence. I've got to be within 10 bars of that divergence for it to still be considered an A setup. So right now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, we're already past the 10 bars. But we're coming down into this 20 zone on the 9.3 stochastic, which is where I want. We're going to let this sit for a minute, see if we get the price action. I'll continue on in here in a minute if I do get it. So we're still considered A plus territory here, and if this candle closes above the 9 EMA, we're actually getting a little bit more volume. So I might take this trade if we can get the close I'm looking for. That doji right there is a good indicator. In fact, I noted that over here. So look for doji candles or engulfing candles for your entry. As you can see, that's not an ideal doji. That's pushing to the low side. So I'm not looking for a short off of this range. I'm looking for bullish divergence to go in my direction. We've got a 1, 2, 3 on ramp here. getting close, but man, that volume's just drying up. I mean, normally I've got it zoomed out on a New York Open to the 2 or 300 range here on volume, zoomed into 40 or 50 just so I can get an idea of what it's doing. Not a good sign to me. And again, we're way up into my 9.3M, my 14 stochastic are nearing overbought conditions, not oversold. So probably just continue waiting patiently. We'll find another trade when the opportunity comes up. I'm going to give it just one more minute here to see if this wants to turn back down. But we're now so many bars since that divergence. Yes, I've got 2A plus indications that this is signals that this is looking good, but not my favorite trade. Not with the volume and the price action being the way it is. My fear is, I'm trying to push this out of my mind, by the way, we may not get price action, like I said, until that 2 o'clock announcement. So you may just have to deal with a little bit slower moving market. Now, that doesn't make for ideal conditions. You just have to be aware of that on news days, that ideal conditions may not exist. And if you want to take a trade, I'm going to say want, because you should not have to. You shouldn't feel like you have to take a trade every day. I missed a couple of days of trading this week or last week. Can get into that a little bit here if I want to show you my current dashboard here in TradeZella. So this is a newer account that I just started on the 4th of September. Lost $199 on that first day. 5 trades is too much. That's a bad day for me. And you can tell that I may have been revenge trading a little bit here. These are some smaller losses, but I should have just taken my first win and call it a day. Didn't do it. And then I had a green day on Friday, the 5th. Monday, the 8th, did good. 2 trades, both winners. Tuesday, I was not able to trade. This one, I'll show you this one just because it's $202 again. Calls out to you the, hey, when you've got a good day going, $202 day is a good day. Keep it green. Don't do what I just did here and re-enter. And of course, I want to keep it a green day, so I'm very scared and anxious when I enter that trade. If it turns against me even the slightest little bit, I'm out. So when I get into these, I'm actually marking that this was an impulsive trade. My initial entry was a quad rotation long. It was a good entry. I have my signals, I have my conditions. After that, though, I was just chasing. And chasing never ends well, I'm sorry. You can see I had a red day on Friday. Now we're back to Wednesday the 17th. We're just going to keep going here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. We'll look for another setup because I don't believe we're going to get the A plus setup we're looking for, at least in the next 20 minutes would be my guess. So we'll keep waiting and watching, and I'll start the recording as soon as I get the chance for an A plus setup. Another quick update here. We've had the decision on interest rate cut. That happened here at 4 o'clock. I thought this was set to New York time. It is. Yeah, so we had that here at 2 o'clock. We had a good move up. It went from what, 66.03 all the way up to 66.27, 66.28. And then you can see we had an immediate fallback. Now, I did have a B set up here. You can see that kind of exhaustive move down, 1-2 pullback, and then it pushed below that 9 EMA. You could have entered there. I had an exit signal there. But I'm really looking for that A+ setup again today. So this is a perfect example of when to stay out of the market. You need to know when your setup is not happening. It didn't happen back over here. We had way too much consolidation and just no movement, right? When you're ranging between 5 to 7 ticks, that's not worth your time. So we have now had big movement, and you can see it matches with big volume. But this is what it looks like for me when I stay out of the market. I don't see my trade. I'm okay. To me, a flat day is still a green day. I don't need to take a trade. And I have struggled with this in the past. It's something I'm still working through. So you can see we've got a lower low here, though, lower high, and then it has come down into this lower low territory, and I'm oversold on all of my stochastics. I like my levels, but I don't have any real level to pivot off of back here. We're kind of in no man's land where this pushed right through. We need to get down to a significant level to look for that bounce. That's down here at like the 65.50 range. So we're going to keep sitting patiently. We'll wait for our setup. And if we don't get the trade today, that's okay. We'll come back tomorrow. There's always another trade, especially with this one, right? I told you we typically have 2 to 3, but on a news day like this, I do expect some weird market behavior that means it may not come up. I may not have the perfect opportunity.